Thank you, Hugh, and a very good evening to you as another crucial piece in the relegation battle is put into place. Matches between the sides in the bottom seven, goes without saying, are often so integral to the bigger picture. Of one team are exaggerated by the damage that it can do to a rival. But if you draw up a mini-league solely made up of those games between the sides from Spurs downwards, it makes for interesting reading. There are 11 such matches left, and it's Forest who lead the way in that mini-table, losing only one of their 8 and averaging nearly 2 points a game in relegation battles. Leeds, for their part, have won 3 and lost 3 of their 6. The fact that they have 6 archetypal 6-pointers left is a bonus, because most of the others have only 4 or 5, although that can be a double-edged sword because of the accompanying pressure. On paper, the Whites' run-in is the easiest of the lot, but with a difficult month on the immediate horizon, and the next 4 matches all against opposition, it ramps up the stakes tonight. Whoever wins this has a 9-point gap above the bottom 3 ahead of West Ham's trip to Burnley tomorrow. The loser might only be 3 clear of the drop zone in 24 hours' time. Leeds in all white, Abdallah in goal, Justin Roden and Strauch, Bogle, Aronson, Ampadu, Gruev and Goodmanson, with Calvert-Lewin alongside Okafor up front. Forest, Davidson, Ortega in goal, Abbott, Milenkovic, Morato and Aina, Sangare and Anderson, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White and Dominguez, and Igor Jesus. On the benches for Leeds, James back from injury, Biol back from injury, so too Lucas Mecha, along with Longstaff, Piru, Tanaka, Bornau, Nyonto and Lucas Perry. And the Forest subs, Awani and Doy, Hutchinson, Yates, Jacunya, McAtee, 2 recent signings, Luca and Nets, and Angus Gunn is the substitute goalkeeper. Peter Banks, the referee. Forest is nice, almost reassuring to see 2 clubs playing in their traditional colours. Last time these 2 sides met, Sean Dyche claimed his first league win as Forest boss, ending the club's near 3-month barren run with a victory that proved the catalyst for recovery. Leeds' own resurgence soon followed, but both have had setbacks, and defeat here tonight would be a big one for either team as they look to keep clear of the relegation zone that still looms a little too close for comfort. Leeds kicking from right to left towards the Don Revie stand. Front foot straight away. Okafor trying to make his way forward on his side tonight, but smacked it straight at Dominguez, who's had a Dean Ashton-style blonde rinse since I saw him play a couple of weeks ago.
Nice to think that it's still in fashion. Of course it is. What I'd do to have that back, by the way.
Interesting use of the word still.
Well, it obviously is.
Is Strauch, and he'll bring the ball out from the back. He'll just lay it to Roden to his right, who's playing in front of his international manager Craig Bellamy tonight, who's here, an interested observer. Calvert-Lewin trying to help it on, and then Aronson, the very busy United States international, picking the ball up in the midfield. He's on the right of 3 central midfielders here again, but probably of the 3 the one that's given the most license to push forward. The ball back with the dark-haired Strauch, who come towards halfway, take a touch and then work it back to his right-hand side for Roden. Now to Bogle back for James Justin, the one-time England defender. Play forward through the midfield, and then Ampadu works it down towards the left-hand side for Goodmanson. Plenty of early Leeds United possessions. They kick from right to left. Ball works in the area, is hammered high up in Milenkovic, and Leeds again able to bring it down, winning all the second ball in the early stages as Strauch goes back for Darlow. 0-0.
Yeah, and of course using the flanks with Goodmanson and Bogle hugging the touch lines. It was Goodmanson with a decent ball in, not acceptable really, especially early on in the game, that Milenkovic could clear without somebody getting across him, considering he was within the width of the 6-yard box.
Now Goodmanson finding his way through again, beating Dominguez, getting it inside the 6-yard box, where Aronson tried a little bit of improvisation, flicking it with his trailing leg towards the near post. It probably was going wide anyway, but it's taken a deflection on its way out, and James Justin will take the first corner of the night.
Yeah, just making use of his pace and physicality against Dominguez on this side. Goodmanson cut the ball back well. Really difficult skill for Aronson. with his weaker foot to Cruyff flick that in.
Interesting that Dominguez is starting on the right with Hudson-Odoi on the left tonight. The corner's going to be taken from the Leeds United left. Swung him very deep towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Heading on, it hit Milenkovic, and the Leeds United fans appealing that it might have hit an arm. Will be looked at by VAR Craig Pawson. No real complaints from the players, which is always significant. Bogle's got the ball on halfway for Leeds United. The game's been played almost exclusively in Forest territory.
Yeah, which is partly down to Leeds' start, but also Sean Dyche's Nottingham Forest sat right into their own half in a good shape, unapologetically. I would assume also just wanting to just soak up the pressure and try and get through the first 20 minutes of intensity.
Calvert-Lewin trying to help the ball on. The second time of asking, he can't find a man in white as he flicks it out towards Bogle. Back from him to Roden. Strauch had the option of Gruev to his left. He's just worked it forward instead, through towards Ethan Ampadu, now towards Goodmanson. Goodmanson able to take on the retreating youngster Zach Abbott. He's making just the 6th senior start of his career tonight. They're playing at right back. Gruev in the midfield to Goodmanson. Dominguez comes across and puts a little bit of pressure on him. The ball worked in towards the feet of Ethan Ampadu. A straight ball down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Bounces a couple of times. Fielded well by Calvert-Lewin. Crowd really appreciating that. Back for Goodmanson again. He's got the beating of his man on this near ties. Anderson this side. Ball inside the penalty area. Took a nick off Abbott. Cleared Ortega and bounced just past the far post. And out of play for another Leeds corner.
What a start Goodmanson's made. It was Anderson this time. He just shakes off to get to the byline. I mean, it's so tight. He's just trying to flash it across, hoping that there is a touch from a Nottingham Forest player or Bogle from the opposite side that had got to the near post.
Abbott so close to turning that into the roof of his own net. Forest survive. Torrent opening 5 minutes for them. All Leeds. In comes this latest corner. Well headed away by Morato, who's in for the injured Maria. Maria is suffering with a slight calf problem, is how it's been described. Now Forest will be able to get out forward towards Igor Jesus. Little backheel flick from him, and Ampadu read that. And in coming across to get there first, has flicked it into Anderson and out of play for a Leeds United throw on that far touchline. You're listening to Leeds Forest on TalkSport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that with Now, you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly. Like Leeds against Nottingham Forest live right now. Just search Now Sports.
Well, lips will have been licked before the game. Looking at that Nottingham Forest backline, obviously new goalkeeper, young right back, and they're away again.
And they have it this time over on the right-hand side. They've also got a right back playing out of position at left back. Olaina much prefers playing on the right than the left. So it is a real makeshift Forest back line today. Leeds unable to find Calvert-Lewin in the penalty area this time. But Ampadu works it forward. And Goodmanson, who has seen plenty of the ball and not wasted a pass so far. Nice 1-2 between him and Okafor, and he's unlucky that Sangare's defended it well and just flicked it into Okafor and out of play for a goal kick that Ortega will take.
And what they've done, Leeds, is exactly what you would expect of a new backline, a new goalkeeper, and that is to keep the pressure on, keep the intensity high and have good movement to really test whether there is those relationships between the players at the back and see if you can just find where the weakness is.
Even Ortega is at the very least out of practice. His last Premier League appearance coming back in April. Hasn't played at all since June the 22nd. Surplus to requirements at Manchester City after James Trafford arrived. Anderson down to his right-hand side. Forest launching their first attack. Gibbs wide, too much on it as Igor Jesus made a run towards the near post and the ball was delivered to the far. And then Aina pushing forward up the left-hand side, can't get in. So it's going to be a throw to Leeds in their right-back position. It's the first chance that we've seen for Nottingham Forest to even get any kind of possession in and around the Leeds final third with 7 minutes gone at 0-0.
Yeah, it was excellent though from Elliot Anderson in that midfield area. We know now sitting in a deeper role, but actually don't forget he played further forward to start his career. He's got wonderful dribbling ability. He just drove forwards, laid it in towards Gibbs White, when he passed the third Leeds player, didn't make the most of it.
And Leeds now with a free kick, which will be taken over on the far touchline there. Right, Sangare's wrestled Aronson down. Free kick taken short. Leeds with only one win in the last 7 Premier League games, but they've only lost 2 of the last 11 since their change of shape to a back 3, which really has come close to salvaging their season. 3 wins, 6 draws and 2 defeats in their last 11 games since the change of shape. And if they can take 15 points in the next 11 games, they're going to come very close to staying up. That will almost certainly be enough. Forest, on the other hand, level on 26 points with Leeds. They've even got the same goal difference, but Leeds have scored 7 goals more. They're looking to make it 8 here as the ball is flashed through the 6-yard box. And Aina is back to defend again as he beat the near post and just swept away from Aronson as he made his way forward. And out of play goes for another Leeds corner.
Yes, he's a problem at the moment, Dominguez, defensively. He's physically not up to it. Leeds are taking advantage down the left-hand side. Someone's got to support Calvert-Lewin.
Latest corner swept in towards the near post and well headed away by Morato. Forest defence a little bit tardy in pushing out. They've now got outside the penalty area as Sean Dyche was expecting. Excellent play by Goodmanson, who very nearly got caught in possession. Then when it was turned over, Forest had the opportunity to work it forward on the counter-attack. Dominguez finding Gibbs White, who's waiting for Hudson-Odoi to make ground to his left. He has it now. Callum Hudson-Odoi inside the penalty area with a low shot. But Gibbs White just trying to flick past Darlow, couldn't do so. And it stays 0-0.
That's what they're capable of, though. Nottingham Forest, with the quality that they have. That extra bit of quality in Gibbs White and Hudson-Odoi trying that favourite move of his, just to jink inside on the right foot, curl it to the far, straight into Darlow's gloves. Didn't make the most of that opportunity, 1v1.
Carl Darlow, who's been recalled for the last 3 Premier League games. He played more than 100 games for Forest at the beginning of his career before leaving the City ground in a move that also saw Jamal Lascelles go as part of the same deal to Newcastle. Lascelles just leaving Tyneside this week to go to Leicester. Hudson-Odoi's got it again. Right foot, he's clipped it in very deep. Gibbs White coming round the back, heads it down. Dominguez coming onto it. First shot blocked, second one well saved. And Darlow probably saw that second one late, but he dived to his right, got a strong hand to it, and tips it round the post for a Forest corner.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi spotted Gibbs White at the back post, who headed it back brilliantly to Dominguez. The first shot ricochets back to him, which was a low strike. The second one was then a scoopy left-footed effort towards the far post. Darlow does really well to spring to his right and glove that away.
Scored at West Ham recently, Nico Dominguez, the only Premier League goal that he scored since 2023. Not too far away from one there. 11 minutes gone, 0-0. Really entertaining stuff in this relegation battle. So Forest's first corner, very, very deep, far too deep. Well, Gibbs White's done brilliantly to rescue that. He's got his head to it, then he's held back in by Sangare, half cleared by Gruev. Comes outside the penalty area for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Another opportunity for Forest to try and deliver. Anderson prevented from doing that, but it's gone out of play for another corner. It was James Justin with the defending.
Yeah, it's been a good reply, hasn't it, from Nottingham Forest after that early bit of pressure, realising that actually they're good players and they can start to play.
Igor Jesus makes a near post run, the ball delivered very deep again, but everybody converged on the near post that time. And it's sailed innocuously out of play for a goal kick that will be taken away to our right-hand side by Carl Darlow. So much more action coming your way over the course of the weekend, including Manchester United against Spurs live and only to be heard on national radio on TalkSport at 12:30 tomorrow. Stuart Pearce, part of your commentary team for that. Stu also giving his thoughts on the latest episode of How to Win the World Cup, which is live for you right now on YouTube and on all available podcast platforms. As Igor Jesus makes his way forward and wins the corner off the retreating Joe Roden. If you haven't seen or caught up with How to Win the World Cup, a couple of superb comics, Matt Ford, Alex Brooker, and joined in this episode by Stuart Pearce to talk about what makes a perfect leader in football. You can catch How to Win the World Cup on all of your podcast platforms. We're 12 and a half minutes in here Rodens conceded another corner, so Leeds with 3 inside the opening 6-7 minutes or so. Now Forest with 3 in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Anderson will take this latest one. This will be an outswing, and the first 2 have been in-swingers. It's come from the right towards the penalty spot. Heads go up for it, and I think it was Igor Jesus that powered a header on target, but it was a comfortable save for Darlow, who just got down and picked it up. And back on his feet, he's bowled it out very quickly down the Leeds United right, and there was a frustration emanating from the locals here that they didn't try and get it forward a little bit more quickly. That counter-attack just fizzled out and allowed Forest to get their shape back behind the ball. They've got it here with Okafor looking for Goodmanson. He didn't make the run that time. And Forest are able to clear with Abbott. It's 0-0 Dean Ashton with 13 minutes gone.
Yeah, they weren't really allowed either to counter-attack because of how quickly Nottingham Forest got back into their shape. But here goes Jesus with his first sight at goal from that corner. One of those as it comes over and you think this is a free header for me, and the defender just backs in enough that you question, do I still want my teeth? And you just take the power off the header, and that's all that happened there, and it just made it really easy for Karl Darlow. It's sometimes instinctive, not for everybody, but it would have been for me.
And the ball over on the Leeds United right. Here's Ethan Ampadu. He can come forward 20 yards into Forest territory. They've won it back with Gibbs wide. A very confident flick from him. Well judged. Forest now can bring it forward down there right with Zach Abbott on the near touchline. It's a good run, not such a good pass. Igor Jesus then stumbling, leads clear with Strauch. It's taking a touch on its way through. Looks as though it's going to go out of play for a Forest throw, but Gruev didn't read the script. Very quickly got his body back between the ball and Dominguez to win it back. And now Leeds will be able to bring it forward. Roden clipping it forward from the edge of the centre circle, giving Calvert-Lewin something to chase up against Milenkovic. And the ball beats the pair of them over the line in front of the Revic standard, out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, just needs to angle that pass a little bit more. The Rodon, that can't just skip through across the goal line. It's got to be angled to go out of play for a throw-in at worst. Calvert-Lewin, as always, incredible amount of effort, always willing to run in behind. It's 3 or 4 times now he's taken that step as if he wants it short and spun in behind. He's trying to create the space as well for Aronson and Okafor.
So as a striker who game recognises game, as they say, what do you think of Calvert-Lewin when he's fit? What do you make of him as Premier League number 9?
I think without the ball, in terms of what he gives you as a centre forward, it's almost exactly what you'd want from the modern day number 9 in terms of leading the line. In terms of taking chances, well, he's a confidence man, and you need to get the ball exactly into those areas that we saw him score all those goals from, right in the middle of the goal. I'm not sure I've ever seen Calvert-Lewin score a goal that I didn't expect him to score. I don't think he's just going to produce something for you, but he gives a lot more than maybe people would appreciate with how difficult it is now as a forward to lead the line on your own.
Strike partner Okafor has won the ball back, then lost out immediately to Anderson. Claims that it was a foul. Sean Dyche clearly didn't feel as though it was, neither did the officials. Forest were able to get it forward. Run back over on the far touchline by Aronson, bustling away again and just nipping in front of Hudson-Odoi to get the benefit from the referee. And Calvert-Lewin had that purple patch. He scored 9 Premier League goals this season, but only one of those coming in his last 6 games, and that was a penalty. In fact, he's only had 3 shots on target in those 6 games combined. 2 from open play. He's just dropped off and laid it off here for Aronson, though. Anderson can bring the ball clear for Forest, and then Gibbs White with another touch which just underlines the confidence of a man that feels he's right on top of his game at the moment. Sangare back to Milenkovic. And Milenkovic playing it forward down the Forest left-hand side for Hudson-Odoi on what is a pretty filthy, inclement West Yorkshire night. And the Leeds United pristine white kits are very much battle-scarred with dirt through the opening 17 minutes. Sangare's got the ball now. Clipped up towards Gibbs White, fired it at him. Gibbs White, all he could do was send a header back towards Milenkovic. Sangare will turn. And now Morato can bring it forward. Poor pass from him. through the midfield. He looked for Gibbs White, only found Ampadu. Gibbs White does end up with a ball at his feet after good work off the ball from Ola Aina. Now Sangare chipping it over the top. Igor Jesus is offside, and it's a free kick to Leeds, 10 yards outside their box. 0-0. We played 18 minutes here on TalkSport.
Yeah, I think he did just go slightly early, but Gibbs White is starting to get on the ball. I think he will enjoy that two-man midfield that Leeds have with Ampadu and Gruev, who Gruev at times is then dropping in as well to try and build up the play. It just leaves all that space for Gibbs White to get on the ball, and with his quality just starting to have an influence on the game.
Leeds United bringing it forward again. Calvert-Lewin and Milenkovic both attacking the same, but it's a good battle between the pair of them. Gibbs White then caught in the midfield. Another free kick to Forest. Both of these teams back in action midweek. It's a full midweek selection of games. Week 26 in the Premier League. We've got all 10 from the division on the TalkSport network, including Leeds at Chelsea, 7:30 Tuesday. That's on Talk Radio. And then Forest at home to Wolves at 7:30 on Wednesday, and that's on TalkSport 2. But if you've got the TalkSport app, what you need to do is just go to the bottom of the screen, click on the live matches tab, and it then becomes really easy for you to navigate through the app to whichever game you want to listen to. Suffice it to say, all 10 Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday are here on the TalkSport network. And it's not just live football for you. We've got the Super Bowl live from the west coast of America this Sunday night. All the action as the Patriots and the Seahawks go head-to-head for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And that starts Sunday night, 11 o'clock on TalkSport. As Zach Abbott brings the ball forward here for Forest and wins the throw down towards the corner flag. We're 20 minutes in. Leeds with a really good start. One delightful cross from Goodmanson, deflected by Zach Abbott, came close to going into the roof of his own net. It's as close as either side have come so far. Carl Darlow's had to make a couple of saves. One, a pretty decent one from Dominguez. And it's Abbott preparing to take a throw here. On the 20-minute mark, right in front of the Forest supporters. He's launched it inside the penalty area, and it's cleared by Strauch. Comes back to him, he feeds Anderson. Anderson with a curving ball in, and the header at the far post goes wide from Igor Jesus. A few on this side of the ground thought that had gone in, as they just saw the side netting ripple, and they went the wrong side of the post from a Forest perspective, and it remains 0-0.
Yeah, it's a threat, isn't he, in the air? Igor Jesus is up against Bogle, and he's winning that battle as Anderson whips that ball in from the right-hand side. Just loses his balance, Igor Jesus. It means he's really stretching for the header away from him. Couldn't direct it on goal.
Here's Goodmanson into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, who's off balance, trying to poke it back towards Aronson. Looks as though Anderson was then fouled, and Sangare certainly was. And it's another Forest free kick nearer the edge of their own penalty area than halfway. You talk about Igor Jesus. Got a great record away from home. 8 of his 11 Forest goals have come on the road. But he's done well in Europe, struggled in the Premier League, where he's only scored twice so far, having played in all but one of Forest games this season. They might be able to provide something for him here, though. A long ball towards Hudson-Odoi, who, when he receives it, is then flagged offside.
They are looking in behind, though, early as well. Nottingham Forest, they feel as if there is that high line of Leeds that they can exploit. That's now a couple of times they've tried to get Igor Jesus in. Callum Hudson-Odoi, again, you've just got to time your run. From that long distance also, you shouldn't really be offside.
Still 0-0 here on TalkSport at Elland Road. Carl Darlow brings the ball to the edge of his own penalty area. He's clad in all light blue tonight. The lead skiing from right to left in this first half, defending the Norman Hunter stand. Goodmanson lays it back for Strauch, and then Strauch turns it behind square back for his goalkeeper Darlow again. Darlow controlling the ball on the edge of the D. Strauch brings it forward, the Dutchman into Okafor. Okafor with a beautiful turn, just left Elliot Anderson in his wake, driving forward, little nutmeg of Abbott, coming onto that is Goodmanson, takes a touch, Abbott forced to concede a corner. Knew that he couldn't let Goodmanson whip one in from that left-hand side, and he's just toe-poked it away Leeds have corner number 4.
Yeah, all of a sudden there was a splash of European quality there from Okafor. Already seen where Anderson was as the ball came in. Little shimmy to his left, control with the outside of the right, and he's away. His pace gets him away and opens up the space then for Goodmanson. It was excellent play from Okafor.
So midway through the first half, another Leeds United corner. 3 inside the 6-yard box, another 3 making their way in there now. It's headed away easily at the near post by Morato. Back in from Justin, better shape on that. Calvert-Lewin powers one off the bar. And then the follow-up is blazed over. That's as close as either side have come. Exactly the kind of service that he thrives upon. 7 yards out, maybe not even that. Climbed above Milenkovic and smacked the bar with a header, which then bounced down just past the line. I think it was Okafor that then came onto it, but off balance he couldn't turn it in. 0-0 still, but Leeds hit the woodwork.
Fractions, isn't it? Fractions away for Calvert-Lewin. He's got such a fantastic leap that when he's up, you're not getting there as a defender. He was up nice and early, and then you're using the pace of the cross and how wet the ball is going to be, that you just let it spin off your head and just glance with the pace of the ball. He did it brilliantly. He's just so unlucky that it hits the crossbar and comes down away from goal and not in.
Well, had he scored that, he'd have been up into double figures in the Premier League this season, which is something that he hasn't managed to do in 5 injury-curtailed campaigns. Only the 3rd time that he's ever done it. Well, it'd be very creditable to have done it by the end of the first week in February. Not to be on that occasion. Dominguez heads the ball back. Abbott's got it. Awkward control, but not with his hand. Or if it was ball to hand. Manages work forward. Gibbs White's flagged offside. Strout cleared anyway. There'll be a Leeds free kick in their left back position of Peter Banks and Ethan Ampadu. Just giving us a 3D replay of exactly what happened with the Abbott handball shout. And the gist of it from the referee to the Leeds captain appeared to be that he felt that it was ball to hand. The free kick taken from completely the wrong place. Strout spotted the ball down 5 yards outside the penalty area. He needed to come back to about 8 yards from the corner flag. Does so now, restarts play, 25 minutes in. Leeds United sending some of the subs out to warm up to a chorus of applause around us. 0-0, such a watchable game. And often these relegation 6-pointers can kind of degenerate, so much at stake, and then fizzle out into a battle of nerve, but this one hasn't been that. Okafor's got the ball for a Leeds side who hit the bar a couple of minutes ago. Strout to Roden, and now to Bogle over on the Leeds United right. He goes back to the back 3 again. Gruev, who just drops back in there and bring it forward. And he's flighted one over the top. Okafor having a look around him, and it's put in. Flag stays down. Great ball over the top. Leeds United strike first. Jayden Bogle, the man that has made the run forward. It's just one straight ball. Bogle ran onto it. Came from nowhere. The right wing back at inside left. As he takes it first time, lets it drop over his shoulder, strokes it into the net, and Leeds United, minutes after hitting the bar, now lead by a goal to 0.
And why not? Just because you're a right wing back doesn't mean you can't run beyond the centre forward. It's such a clever run. It comes from so deep, Bogle, that the Nottingham Forest defence don't really think he's actually going to get it. It's the timing of it as well. The timing of the pass, the timing of the run is perfect. Of course it's too easy for Leeds, for one straight ball over the top, one angled run to get in behind. And then when you get in there, sometimes it doesn't need to be that clever a finish. Just make sure you get good contact into the ground to keep it low and hope that it skids past the goalkeeper. That's exactly what it does. It skids past Ortega's right foot and gives Leeds United the lead.
Well, his last Premier League goal was at Old Trafford back in April 2024. Jayden Bogle giving Leeds United the lead in the big game at the bottom against Nottingham Forest. Now, how will Forest be able to respond? Aina gets it forward towards halfway and then continues his run. Played over the top. And a sliding challenge Again from Jayden Bogle, who's tracked a long way back. And a goal kick is the decision, much to the delight of those in the Norman Hunter stand. Do they deserve it, do you think, through the opening 27 minutes?
I think you would say so. I think they started really brightly and they've caused Nottingham Forest a lot of problems down the left-hand side. But Sean Dyche immediately turned round to his coaching staff to probably say, how on earth has a straight ball over the top of our defence caught us out? Well, actually, it might be Olarena's fault. Playing as a left-back rather than a right-back, he let Bogle make that run inside him and he didn't track him. He just left him to run. He timed the run perfectly, he was in behind. And maybe just being slightly out of position, Aina was confused as to whether to go or not.
Leeds United, who've had 2/3 of the possession, scoring with their first shot on target. 1-0. And they led against Nottingham Forest the last time the two sides played. Ended up losing that. Sean Dyche's first Premier League win, a match in which Metcher scored for Leeds, but Morgan Gibbs-White equalised within 2 minutes. They've already held the advantage for longer tonight. 1-0 to Leeds United here at Ellen Road on TalkSport. Aronson, Calvert-Lewin. Aronson has it again. Sangare with a strong challenge, but Leeds United winning a lot of second ball. That has been a regular feature throughout the course of the game. Gruev, Ampadu, Strand, now to Roden. Roden to Justin. Here is Jayden Bogle once more, over in his more customary position on the right flank. He's poking it forward for Aronson. Calvert-Lewin waiting in the D. Milenkovic keeping an eye on him. Nice touch from Gruev. Turning it away from Dominguez around the corner. Down towards Okafor. Okafor turning it onto his right foot. Ball too deep for Calvert-Lewin. Bogle coming in round the back, came closest to it. It was cleared away from him. Back for Bogle once more, 10 yards outside the penalty area. With a reverse for Aronson. Aronson, Justin, good save. Poke back again, nothing they can do about that. It's Okafor, and it is 2 in 4 minutes. Nottingham Forest being ripped apart, and Leeds United taking a massive step towards Premier League safety. Bogle and Okafor, it's 2-0 to Leeds.
It's just an overload once again from Leeds United. It's Justin, who is the right-hand sided centre-back of a three, that decides this time it's for him to go. Little ball into Aronson, stunning little flick round the corner again for Justin, who has his first shot saved by Ortega. He then doesn't panic, he doesn't rush the ball back in, he gets his head up to make sure that he can see Okafor stood there motionless 6 yards out, just to control as that comes across. It's the overload once again from Leeds United.
First goal in 18 games for the Swiss international. His third for Leeds United, and they're 2 goals to the good here on TalkSport. Forest with plenty to do. Ellen Road is vibrant, it's full of belief, and those in red, either on the field or away to the right hand side, look stunned.
And we talked before the game what it's like playing here. Well, you can start to feel the reverberation off the steel and the wood of these stands on your back as the crowd start to get going here.
Heiner makes his way forward, wins the throw. Remember a really good save from Darlow at 0-0 to deny Dominguez. Dominguez has found it difficult at times, particularly defensively, with the cover that he is giving the inexperienced Abbott behind him. But it's been the movement off the other flank that has really done the damage. Leeds United fans marching on together and marching up the table. They'll be level on points with Palace and Spurs above them if they can hold on to the advantage that they've got so far tonight. Their goal difference will be worse. I mean, it's 7 worse than Palace at the start of the night and 13 inferior to Spurs, but just being level on points with the pair of them would make the table look a lot better at the end of the evening. Anderson playing the ball forward here for Abbott's run. He's headed it on past Strauch. Goodmanson mopping up in behind him. Igor Jesus with great work rate has come back to win it back. Abbott tried to go the long way round the defender to get across it and couldn't. Leeds bring it forward. Aronson with a clever touch was fouled by Elliot Anderson. And Leeds have another free kick. And they are in complete control now. 2 goals to the good.
Well, all of a sudden, just everything falls into place. Beautiful pass in towards Aronson. Little shimmy away from Anderson. He's caught. Probably fortunate not to get a yellow card there. Anderson felt as if he was going to get away.
So how do Forest get themselves back into this?
Well, ultimately he's set the team up to be hard to beat, so he's going to have to, it's going to be a mindset rather than a tactical decision, and he has got options, plenty of options, attacking options on the bench to change things possibly at half-time, maybe even now. I mean, the 3 of them, 3 heads shining down there in Ian Woan, Steve Stone and Sean Dyche, all, I think, probably trying to come up with an answer.
Well, they got the new boy Luca, all 6'7" of him on the bench as a striker. But defensively, they have things to sort out here. Milenkovic. Cleverly worked forward through the midfield, and Anderson, as he picks it up, sees he's probably got 30 yards of verdant grass ahead of him. He's gone into the feet of Gibbs White, now out towards Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi's got Justin for company. He's been able to play the ball back. Anderson has it again. From him to Sangare. Leeds 2, Forest 0. Abbott. Good tackle from Okafor. Abbott wins it back. Sangare tried to take over. Okafor still got it, and then Abbott, a little bit frustrated, has just put hands on his shoulder and eased him to the ground, and the Leeds United fans around us give him a standing ovation. Noah Okafor. 2-0, Leeds United leading with 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Yeah, it's been a tough half so far for young Abbott. He's not had much help from Dominguez. He's been poor defensively as well. He's not been able to make use of his athletic ability down the right-hand side. Abbott so far. Okafor, really good work defensively there.
The Leeds have won their last 3 home Premier League matches with Forest, albeit that they've been spread out over 30 years. The last one, 2023, the Harrison and Sinisterra, the Leeds United goal scorers on that occasion. Forest led in that one and lost. And I mentioned earlier that the side that scored the first goal lost the last meeting as well, when Leeds took the lead at the City Ground and ended up losing 3-1, but the second goal has followed the first in quick succession again tonight, and Leeds have got them both. Sangare heads it forward. Back from Roden. Hudson-Odoi in a central area with Aronson buzzing around him. He won it back initially, the United States international, but Anderson was quickly on the scene and can regain possession, puts his foot on the ball. Back to Morato, and as soon as the ball goes to Morato, that's the signal for Leeds to press. Ball then went back to Ortega, and Calvert-Lewin put the press on him immediately, but he was able to get it away, and Nottingham Forest end up with a throw, which will be taken over on the left. You're listening to Leeds against Nottingham Forest on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Well, ultimately, if you don't meet the demands physically against this Leeds side, especially here, then you're going to struggle to get back into the game anyway. And at the moment, still Leeds are winning those 50-50s, are winning the individual duels, and you've got to try and turn that around, and that's nothing to do with ability.
There's just something about this place. As we referenced before the game starts, they've got such an impressive record under lights here at Elland Road. They've won 5 home games all season, and 4 of them have been night games. Are they going to be able to extend that run? Forest to have another corner. Last time that Leeds lost the night game here, April 2023, they were whacked by Liverpool, but haven't looked back since. 18 wins and 3 draws in the 21 night games they played at Elland Road since then, over thick end of 3 years. 2 balls on the pitch for a moment, because one ended up in the crowd and stayed in the crowd for a bit. Elliot Anderson went and picked one off a yellow cone on the touchline, and then, needless to say, the original match ball that made a delayed re-entry. In comes the corner. Strout should head that away. He can. Comes out of the penalty area for Aina. Aina looked as though he was shaping to shoot from 35 yards out. He didn't in the end. He's just poked it to his left for Hudson-Odoi. Another cross comes in. That one's clear. Aina with a looping header back over the top. Flicked away by Strout. Who's going to win the second ball? It will be down the left-hand side. I think it might have been Ampadu that got there first. A challenge from one of the Forest players that could be revisited very shortly. It was Goodmanson actually that was fouled, I beg your pardon. But Aronson was able to bring it away. And Leeds United have still got it, but when the play next stops, the referee might come back and award a yellow card potentially. Strout has it just outside his own penalty area. Another long ball forward, straight towards Calvert-Lewin, who then made a curved run to try and attack that. Deliberately jumped early against Milenkovic, but mistimed it significantly and wasn't able to get anything on the ball at all. Forest play it quickly between the lines with Gibbs-White out towards Callum Hudson-Odoi as they look to halve the deficit and get themselves back into this game. Hudson-Odoi plays it back for Sangare. Immediate hasty layoff to his left for Anderson. Abbott now for Dominguez. The Argentinian to Anderson, clipped forward, headed away easily by Bogle, brought down well by Aronson, but Anderson wins it back again for Forest. And Geordie brings it forward. Gibbs-White with a lovely turn on the edge of the penalty area. Can't get himself into a shooting position. He can set up Sangare, who blasted one towards goal. It hits Strout. Blasted a second one towards the corner flag, which wasn't his intention. Abbott's run round it, kept it alive. Works it inside the box. Sangare's near post run didn't get him to the ball in time. Leads clear. And it goes out for a Nottingham Forest throw. They trail 2-0.
But it's really good work. Probing work from Anderson and Gibbs-White. Fed to Gibbs-White with the outside of his right foot from Anderson. Gibbs-White then finds Sangare, who strikes well with the first one, and as it comes back, tell you what, he got some revolutions on the ball with that slice.
It was a brilliant leg break, wasn't it? It just spun off the outside of his right boot. Abbott with an intended long throw that ended up just being a throw. Cleared from the right-hand side of the penalty area. Forest won it back again, but much deeper on halfway. Crossfield ball from Anderson, was able to control it. No challenge comes in on him as he strides away from Okafor. Feeds Gibbs-White to his right, whose first touch wasn't the best. Recovered, still got it. Down towards Abbott. Abbott towards the edge of the penalty area. That's not a bad ball in. Milenkovic was lurking around the penalty spot. The ball too far ahead of him, but it is picked up by Callum Hudson-Odoi on the Forest left. In towards Milenkovic again, but too high for him. And it goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken away to our right-hand side. Well, it's currently Leeds 2, Forest 0. And for the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can back Leeds to win at 12-1 on. The draw's 9-1, Forest 22-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Yeah, it's two good crossing opportunities for Nottingham Forest. You've got the big Serbian tower, Milenkovic, in there, and you can't find him or give him a chance to actually attack one of them.
Forest having more of the ball now. Given away again sloppily by Leeds. Anderson's pass in towards Igor Jesus wasn't the best, but Jesus didn't read his intentions either, which made it look a little bit worse than it was. Aina in strongly, shoulder to shoulder with Ampadu. Ball headed away by Bogle, the scorer of the first Leeds United goal. Now they can put their foot on the ball in the midfield with Ampadu working it back for Strout. And Joe Roden's got it. Telling Ampadu to turn as he laid the ball forward. Aronson just put the brakes on, trying to buy a free kick there, and the referee wasn't having it. Forest having it back inside their own half, get it forward to Zach Abbott. Daniel Farker in his big, thick black coat, looking relatively animated. Haven't seen that too often tonight. Gibbs-White coming forward, stepping away from Gruev's challenge. Tries to get a shot in, which is deflected. Spins in front of Dominguez, who deliberately leaves it for Abbott. Now Gibbs-White again. 3 to go to half-time. Ball far too close to Darlow, who will catch it and then just deliberately drop to his knees. 42 gone here on TalkSport. Leeds 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, he won't stop. Gibbs White, if you keep giving him space, he'll keep trying to produce and create. He's great in that sort of area, and they're allowing him the space at the moment to operate, which I don't think is a great thing for Leeds, even though they are 2 goals ahead.
Did score on the reverse fixture, Morgan Gibbs White, and then it's come into this with 3 goals in his last 5 Premier League games. They've missed Chris Wood though, without a shadow of a doubt, and it'll be interesting to see how long we wait before Lorenzo Luca is thrown on for Nottingham Forest, a player that scored a fair few goals last season, has struggled in Serie A this, hence his loan spell to Forest. Well, he is a massive target man at 6'7". Sangare drops the ball onto the feet of Abbott. Abbott on the half volley, clips it back infield for Dominguez. Milenkovic has it now. Morato to his left. 90 seconds to go to half time. There won't be too much time to be added on. Anderson Gibbs White taking it on again. Igor Jesus making a run ahead of him, and Gibbs White, after a poor first touch, got the second. Right-footed effort, took a little deflection and took the pace out of it. And that meant that Darlow had actually dived a little bit early, because the ball didn't come through to him as quickly as he anticipated, but he was still able to put his hands up in front of his face, beat it away, and out for another Nottingham Forest corner.
Yeah, almost a mistake there from Leeds, just trying to play rather than clearing, allowing Gibbs White to get hold of the ball when he'd seemingly lost it with a bad touch, and then he was a little bit greedy. He had Abbott clear on his right hand side just to play him in. Instead he's gone for the shot himself when he was off balance, lucky to get a corner.
The 4th Nottingham Forest corner. Anderson takes it, bounces once on the edge of the penalty area and straight into the path of the advancing Brendan Aronson. Leeds might be able to get the bodies forward quickly here. Forest, they have got the shake back behind the ball, and they do regain their position so quickly. The likes of Milenkovic and Morato just dropping back in. When Aronson had taken it on some 20-30 yards, all of a sudden he realised that the momentum had already gone from the counter-attack. And Leeds have just maintained possession, and they've worked it back behind square. They've got it inside their own half with Roden finding Strauch. Strout, 15 yards inside his own half, goes back out towards the right-hand side. Remember, Forest have only lost one of the 8 games they've played against bottom 7 opposition so far this season. But they're on the wrong end of it here at the moment as we go into 1 additional minute of time at the end of the first half.
Well, it was an intense 5 or 6 minute period, wasn't it? Calvert-Lewin hitting the crossbar, bouncing down just in front of the line, and then the 2 quick-fire goals. And taking advantage, I think, of just a lack of organisation in that Nottingham Forest backline, which we thought could be the case this evening, giving Leeds what you would expect to be quite a comfortable half-time score for them.
Yeah, remember, it's a debutant goalkeeper in Ortega, a rookie right back in Abbott, Milenkovic alongside Morato rather than Murillo, and then Aina, who's played a lot of his football at right back, playing at left back. I mean, it's by no means the first time he's played at left back, far from it. There's going to be a throw that'll be taken on the Forest right by Abbott with only seconds remaining in the first half. Launches it into Leeds territory. Strauch beating Igor Jesus in the air. Sangare leans over his man, and that's the last action of the first 45 minutes. Leeds on the front foot from the very off, almost scored through a Zach Abbott own goal inside the opening 4 minutes. Forest have got themselves back into it, but 2 in the space of 3.5 minutes have swung this in Leeds' favour. Bogle and Okafor with the goals, and work, plenty of it, for Nottingham Forest to do. It's a deserved advantage for Leeds United at the break. Leeds 2, Forest 0. Well, it's not the first time in 2026 that Forest have had a torrid first 45 minutes. They did so at Wrexham, you'll remember, on a Friday night in the FA Cup, where they did improve after a half-time dressing down. The changes were made. No changes made tonight. We're back underway. Forest in all red, going from right to left towards the Revy stand. Leeds with Darlow in goal, Justin Roden and Strauch, Bogle, Aronson, Ampadu, Gruev and Goodmanson, and then Calvert-Lewin with Okafor playing off him. And Forest with Ortega in goal, Abbott, Milenkovic, Morato and Aina, Sangare and Anderson, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, Dominguez and Igor Jesus. Aina in the ball away. with his right foot down the left-hand touchline. Igor Jesus chasing after that. Roden can get it back to his goalkeeper. It's cleared out to the Leeds United left. With TalkSport, Jim Proudman and Dean Ashton talking through the action here at Ellen Road tonight, where at the moment Leeds United would stay 16th but would move level on points with Spurs and Palace above them. Spurs in action tomorrow lunchtime at 12:30 kickoff. It's live and exclusive on TalkSport as they go to Manchester United. Leeds bring it forward again, but it's a poor touch from Strauk. A rarity for him tonight. Out of play for a throw. The Forest will take over on the far touchline. Seconds gone on the second half, Dean, and it's 2-0 to Leeds, and Forest need some inspiration.
Yeah, they do tactically. Nothing's changed, really. Possibly Sangare might have just gone a little bit further forward rather than it being Anderson and Sangare sitting and Gibbs White ahead as a 10. Maybe Anderson's going to sit and Sangare goes a little bit further forward with Gibbs White. That's one thing they could try and do. Eimer down for Hudson-Odoi. He plays it back behind Morato, and just for a moment Ortega thought about coming out for that. He made the right decision in not doing so. Milenkovic fires one over the top that Strauk can clear, and he puts it out of play for a throw that Forest will take over on the far side with Zach Abbott. Forest unbeaten in 4, which is their longest unbeaten run this season. I think I'm right in saying that only Manchester United at the moment have a current longer unbeaten run in the Premier League than Forest. If they can fight back and get something here, it will be their longest unbeaten run in the league for a couple of years. The ball has gone out for what has been given as a Leeds United throw. It wasn't how Forest saw it, and still Sean Dyche remains unconvinced, chuntering away and raises his hand up now, trying to get an instruction across to Dominguez, I think. The ball is thrown down this near touchline, which is the Leeds right, and Bogle's going to be able to take it on. He's got Aronson as the most advanced of his teammates. He's found Gruev to his left hand side. Okafor working the angle. Can he get the shot away? It hits Bogle inside the penalty area when it might have caused problems. Forest are able to survive, and Anderson will clear. Great header from Ampadu. Back from him to Gruev, who does curve one in, and Calvert-Lewin throws himself at it and chests the cross into the bottom right-hand corner to wrong foot Ortega. Well, we said the third goal would be crucial, and it has taken Leeds United barely 4 minutes of the second half. What a night this is for Daniel Parker and his men, as Leeds lead relegation rivals Forest by 3-0, and Calvert-Lewin hits double figures for the first time in 5 years. Well, 3-0, and it should be 3 points, and it is brilliant from Calvert-Lewin, because Gruev has all the time in the world to size up the effort, looking as if he's going to curl it into that far corner. Calvert-Lewin just thinks, I'll gamble across here, I'll gamble across the defender just to see whether it gets anywhere near me, and he's really clever the way he just shifts the shape of his body and uses his chest just to let the ball glance off it and flashes past Ortega. Real improvisation from Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
As soon as he made contact, Ortega was going the other way, had no chance of being able to react. And Calvert-Lewin scores his first goal in 7 in open play in the Premier League. It's his 10th goal of the season. And only the 3rd time in his career that he's hit double figures in the Premier League. As I mentioned, the last time was back in 2021. 10 goals in 24 games for a player whose acquisition was deemed to be high risk. The boys, he made it pay. So here's Milenkovic for Nottingham Forest. Igor Jesus will chase it. It should be easy for James Justin to clear. He's hoping. But it had the legs to go over the line and go out of play for a goal kick. It did in the end. After he made 3 or 4 attempts to pretend to play the ball, Igor Jesus couldn't get close enough to him. And Calvert-Lewin's name is being sung. There can't be any better feeling for a striker than that.
Of course not. Top of the world, you feel, when you hear that noise, and it's all about you. We've got egos and we like them to be stroked as much as possible. And Calvert-Lewin, if he just keeps doing that, he just keeps getting into those positions, tapping those in, they'll love him here.
Aronson gets it forward for him. And Calvert-Lewin, Milenkovic had a little nibble from behind on him. Well, Calvert-Lewin ending up on his knees in front of the Nottingham Forest supporters. The throw to Forest was the decision. Ortega clears. Igor Jesus chests it down. Okafor brings it back inside the centre circle. England's number 9 is the cry now from the Leeds United supporters. I'll get your view on that, Dean, in a moment as they spray it wide for Goodmanson here, coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Back heel on the pirouette. Aronson will take over. Ampadu. Gruev. Chance to deliver and get the ball away from Abbott. It's clipped inside the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi volleys it away for Forest, and then Strout has just caught Igor Jesus from behind. It would be a wildcard selection for the World Cup squad, without a shadow of a doubt, but would you be tempted if you were Thomas Tuchel?
No. I think he's done excellent to get himself fit and be available to play and get the goals that he has done this season. But I still think there's better quality English centre forwards that we can choose from before Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
You're listening to Leeds against Nottingham Forest on Talk Sport with Sky Sports, and don't forget with now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Leeds against Forest live right now. Search Now Sports. A big cry that went up was as there was a collision between Justin and Gibbs White, and the free kick was given Forest's way. I think a few saw it the other way. We are going to see Lorenzo Luca come on in a moment for Nottingham Forest, who is just stood up, got off the bench in his XL number 20 shirt, and they'll be on in a moment. It'll be interesting to see whether it's a straight swap for Igor Jesus. Leeds work the ball forward. Forest work the ball forward, I beg your pardon, down the left. And out comes Darlow, heads it away from just outside his own penalty area, out for a throw. Anderson in too strongly on Aronson in the midfield. And it's another free kick, this one to Leeds. It's going to be a double change because Hutchinson is going to come on alongside Luca. So Igor Jesus does make way, and Luca will come on for his Premier League debut. Dominguez makes way as well, and Hutchinson replaces him. Well, Luca, he's on loan from Napoli. He's only scored one Serie A goal this season in 16 games, but he got a dozen for Udinese last season and a couple in the Coppa Italia as well. Sean Hutchinson had a run of starts under Sean Dyche, but has been out of favour again for the last month or so, and he's replaced Dominguez, who's not had his best game in a Forest shirt this evening.
No, I mean, Igor Jesus, I don't think he had a lot of support, to be honest. Wasn't able to really get into the game. And Dominguez, I didn't think offered much going forwards or in defence. And I just wonder whether Sean Dyche and the staff will think, actually, yeah, we should have made that change at half-time. It's pretty obvious, the performance of the first half. And now at 3-0, it's a massive ask for your substitutes to turn things around.
And here is Luca, a good first touch from him, but the problem was that he was offside as he feathered it into the path of Hudson-Odoi, or come back from an offside position anyway. So free kick got to be taken by Leeds, and this would only be the second defeat that Forest has suffered in 16 games against newly promoted opposition. They were beaten at home by Sunderland earlier this season. We're talking about the fixture list coming up for Leeds. Of the sides in the bottom 7, this is probably the easiest run-in, but it's not front-loaded because their next 4 games all against sides who are currently in the top 8. Chelsea away, which will bring you on the TalkSport network on Talk Radio on Tuesday night at 7:30. And then after the FA Cup tie at Birmingham that will also bring you live, they've got Villa away, Man City here, and then Sunderland here. So next 4 league games all against top 8 sides. Then it does get a little bit easier, and as I say, in terms of the average number of points per game of the opponents that they've got left, there's the easiest running of the sides currently in the bottom 7. They lead 3-0 here and take them up to 29 points. Aronson goes to ground just outside the box. Milenkovic disdainfully waves him back to his feet. Leeds United ended up getting a throw out of that. Hudson-Odoi arguing about it, which actually would have given Justin the opportunity to launch a quick throw in behind Hudson-Odoi for Justin's run. For Bogle's run, I beg your pardon, but Justin didn't see it. And it's out of play for a throw. Leeds fans swinging their scarves, white, yellow and blue, around their head, making for quite a spectacle. Loving life, this. A crucial night for them, and a big performance and result incoming. They lead 3-0, they hit the bar as well, at 0-0. That long throw comes to nothing, it's picked up by Ortega. They paid Manchester City 500 grand for him, just on a short-term contract at the end of the season. Anderson, Sangare. Interesting to see when Sells is fit, who's the number one keeper. Bear in mind, Sells has also had a spell out of the side. John Victor displaced him as the number one for a bit before he picked up that injury and that concession of that bizarre goal at Villa a few weeks back. Sangare now for Forest, getting it forward. Awkward one for Gibbs White to control, and he did well. Luca trying to make a run off the back of Joe Roden, but there's no cross forthcoming because Forest again have given it away. And here's Aronson with his low centre of gravity, bringing it forward, running at Milenkovic, checking back inside. Sangare forces him back towards halfway. That's good work rate from him, but Leeds United have been able to maintain possession, but have it deeper now with Stroud.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked yet for Nottingham Forest. They haven't really had any fluidity to their play. Gibbs White is trying really hard to kind of make things happen, but he's not really working with any of the front three particularly well, who are so stretched. I think obviously Sean Dyche wants the width defensively, but then you've got to get closer to each other as a front four.
Roden down the line for Justin. And James Justin is able to bring the ball forward before being given a shot by Callum Hudson-Odoi. And a free kick to Leeds midway inside their own half. From Forest's perspective, they've got to make sure this doesn't get any worse than this. 3-0 down. And it will be their first defeat in 5. But their goal difference will go down to -14. If West Ham were to, say, win by a couple at Burnley tomorrow, then they'd only be 3 points behind them, and their goal difference would only be 2 worse. And that's if Forest don't concede anymore here. So, what a good job, you'd have to say it was, that Forest won at West Ham just a few weeks back. Came from behind in that game. There's not too many signs that they're going to be able to come from behind in this one. They've given another free kick away, Justin fouled, and a free kick that Leeds will take 5 yards inside the Nottingham Forest half.
And I just think with Nottingham Forest, you're right, that result was absolutely huge at the London Stadium. They've not looked anything like getting back into this game. Leeds a much better outfit than West Ham were that day, and that's the worry. Is I don't think necessarily Sean Dyche has got the kind of style all of a sudden just to change and be this team that can go and be brave and create.
Heiner with the clearance, picked up by Roden on halfway. Gruev, Ampadu, Aronson, who's been here, there and everywhere in a typical Brendan Aronson performance. He receives the ball now with his back to the direction of play. Ends up on the deck. The play goes on. Leeds have still got it. They go back for Darlow. Darlow's sweeping it right-footed forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Heiner having to retreat, clears over his own shoulder, out for Gruev. Gruev to his left-hand side. Calvert-Lewin tugging it back in. Couldn't turn inside the penalty area to get the shot in. And it's cleared before another foul, and this time the referee is going to punish Noah Okafor. It's a yellow card, the first of the night.
Yeah, easy decision. Just as Gruev plays that into Okafor, into Calvert-Lewin, who, like you say, couldn't quite turn in the penalty area. Olarena is away and just pulled down by Okafor, sliding in. He's always going to get the yellow card. But again, it looks more like Leeds are going to get the fourth, doesn't it, than Nottingham Forest get back into the game.
Every time Gruev comes into a shooting position, they urge him to have a crack. He's only ever scored once for Leeds, which you might remember was a sublime free kick in the playoff semi-final against Norwich. I know you'll remember that. A couple of years back, brilliantly struck goal here on another famous Ellen Road night. They'll bring it forward here again. Goodmanson's got it. They're looking for goal number 4. And the cross is too deep. Bogle coming forward is able to run round it and bring it back under control. He's found James Justin. Justin into Bogle. Gruev. Aronson. Leeds playing the passes from close quarters. It was a lovely turn then by Bogle. And Sangare getting frustrated with the situation. Takes it out with a rash challenge on Aronson. And the referee is going to produce a card. It's a yellow, and Sangare goes in the book, and he can have no complaints either.
Yeah, the kettle's boiling, isn't it? For Sangare, he just thought, I'm just not having it. I'm just not having it being this easy for Leeds to keep possession. So I'm just going to go and smash somebody. And he just crashes into Aronson with his foot, as if he's going to clear it out of play, but follows through and whacks Aronson on the knee. Rightly so. Gets the yellow card.
So Sangare and Okafor both in the book in the space of a couple of minutes. It's a 4th of the season for the Forest man. Aronson's okay. Back on his feet, and his white shirt further muddied now on the right shoulder. Gruev will stand over this free kick. Certainly not in a shooting position. Just a yard in from the touchline. We want to put plenty of air and distance on this as he swings it in left-footed towards the penalty spot. First contact off a Leeds player, but it's just brushed off the top of the head. I think it was James Justin and gone well out of play for a goal kick that Ortega will take. Coming up for Forest, they've got Wolves at home on Wednesday. You can hear that on TalkSport 2. I mean, that becomes a real crunch game for them. Then after that, Liverpool at home. That's a game that is sandwiched between the 2 European ties against Fenerbahce, and then they go to Brighton. So it's an arduous fortnight or so as far as Sean Dyche's men are concerned. They wouldn't have wanted to go into it on the back of a performance like this. 3-0 down with still about half an hour's worth of playing time to go, and he's not happy. You can see he's not. His body language is such. He's just in conversation with Ian Wone in front of us now. Hudson-Odoi heads it forward towards Luca. Luca beaten easily by Strout. Strout's ball straight at Abbott. Abbott needed a couple of touches to bring it under control. Goodmanson wins it back and then just drops it over the head of the young Forest right back. And Aronson chasing is there, but Elliot Anderson quickly on the scene. Anderson's only option was to go back to Ortega, who makes sure that he gets his right foot underneath that, fires it forward. Luca beaten a little bit easily by Strout. And then Gibbs White and Sangare ran into each other, and Gruev can come away with the ball. And he works it out towards the left-hand side for Okafor. Low ball in from him. And Milenkovic stabs it away for a corner.
Yeah, they've struggled in wide areas all night. Nottingham Forest, Leeds have been able to exploit it. They've overloaded too often to get into a crossing position. Abbott's had a difficult evening, the young man. Even Aina on the other side has struggled. They've not had much defensive help from the wide players. I think that's been a key also.
Well, Forest are going to make another double change in a moment with Ndoye and Yates getting ready. First of all, though, this 5th United corner, 5th Leeds corner. First of the second half for them. Justin gives a signal, both hands above his head. It's swept in really deep. Coming around the back with Stroud. Oh, Ortega flapped at it, pushed it down into the ground. Back it comes in from Aronson. We'll bring him forward again. There's a Leeds player down inside the 6-yard box, but Forest can get it away. And now they will try and break with Morgan Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White's got Hudson-Odoi to his left. Hudson-Odoi right in the challenge of Goodmanson, who caught him, clips it inside the penalty area. Luca trying to get on the end of it, headed away by Roden, and then an acrobatic overhead kick from Okafor gets it further clear. Abbott will bring it forward now for Forest. Another ball swept in. Gibbs White going up for that, mistimed his jump, and Leeds will get it away. A free kick is given to them, and now the Leeds United player down inside the 6-yard box, Gruev, can receive treatment. I mean, there were hoots of derision from the Leeds United supporters. It's not up to Forest to stop the game, and Leeds carried on going for a good 5 or 6 seconds after Gruev went down. But it would have been a controversial moment had Gibbs White been able to score from that ball that Abbott played in. Here's a free kick to Leeds. Midway through the second half, it's still Leeds 3, Forest 0.
Yeah, it was actually Calvert-Lewin as well that caught his own man. And to be honest, he didn't go down straight away. He was definitely caught, and I think because it was a head injury, I think the Leeds supporters were pretty sure that the referee would have stopped the game. But actually, Peter Banks was 3/4 of the way up the pitch with the Nottingham Forest attack in the end. And they just couldn't make the most again from wide areas.
Well, Forest are taking off both Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs White here with a quarter of the game remaining. And Doy and Yates coming on to replace them. Are you surprised that Gibbs White has made way? Is that the white flag being waved?
There could be a little bit of protection for Gibbs White, I think, in terms of fatigue and minutes that he will have played. And if it wasn't the fact that they had Anderson that could step into that role, might be a little bit more of my eyebrows being raised. But he's such a quality operator. It's not a bad player to just put in there.
So Ryan Yates coming on, which, as you say, you would imagine we'll see Anderson playing in a slightly more advanced role. And then Dan and Doy replacing Hudson-Odoi, a straight swap on the wing. I mean, Gruev is still down receiving treatment inside the 6-yard box away to our right-hand side. And the Scottish Cup tonight, they're in the final 5 minutes or so. Edrionians have equalised at home to St Mirren. It's 1-1 there. The League Cup winners being held in the Scottish Cup by lower division opposition. Our live championship game over on TalkSport 2 still goalless between Charlton and QPR. And this one 3-0 to Leeds with Bogle, Okafor and Calvert-Lewin scoring the goals in a 22-minute spell either side of half-time. Tomorrow it's Manchester United against Spurs, live and only on national radio on TalkSport at 12:30. And then all 10 Premier League midweek games are on the TalkSport network. On Tuesday night, Leeds at Chelsea, that's on Talk Radio at 7:30. Wednesday, it's Forest Wolves on TalkSport 2 at 7:30. All the other games are there as well. And if you've got the TalkSport app, you can find all of them by just going on the live games tab. It's also going to be where you're going to be able to hear the Patriots against the Seahawks Super Bowl 60, which is live on TalkSport Sunday night from 11 o'clock. And let me remind you that Monday, Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoy's the back at 6 for TalkSport Breakfast. If you fancy something different on your morning commute, be sure to check out the Chris Evans Breakfast Show weekdays from 6:30 on Virgin Radio. And talking of Virgin Radio, it's still say one of the best signings of the January transfer window, Huey Morgan. If you've never heard his show, which is 10 till 2 on Virgin Radio, Saturday morning into afternoon, and the same time on Sunday, thoroughly recommend it. A magnificent, eclectic selection of music. Certainly is something that can't be missed. Never get the opportunity to hear it live, but it is always available on the app and thoroughly recommended. Well, you're not missing anything here because Gruev is still down receiving treatment. They're having to go through the concussion protocol, just patching him up to make sure that he's okay with 20 minutes to go. Dean Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure exactly what it is. It was Calvert-Lewin's boot that caught him in the face, whether it's the nose or the eye, but I think there's a bit of blood there that they're just seeing too, and like you say, the protocols that they'll have to go through also to allow him to carry on.
Now the TV cameras continually focusing on Edu, incidentally, really a man under pressure with £200 million spent. Nottingham Forest potentially only 3 points clear of the relegation zone by the end of tomorrow, potentially. But Burnley have got a big part to play in that. They take on West Ham tomorrow afternoon, and you can hear on Game Day Live with Adrian Durham at Turf Moor exactly how they get on. But Forest, like Leeds, have been in the bottom 5 since week 10 of the season, and with the amount of money that they've spent and the position they were in at the end of last season, they would have expected a whole lot more. Gruev leaves the field for now with a big bit of white cotton wool in his nose to stem the flow of blood. He's going to be okay. He's going to be back on. He's going to have the obligatory change of the shirt before he does reappear. And play will resume with that Leeds free kick. Well, that's a stoppage of probably about 5 minutes, so that will just elongate the misery for Nottingham Forest, or getting themselves back into the game to give them a little bit more of a chance to be able to fight back into it in stoppage time. We're back underway. Calvert-Lewin on towards Aronson, and he's been caught by Yates. Has he? No. Referee says play on, and he's now down in need of treatment. So Leeds effectively down to 9 because Gruev's still off the pitch, and Aronson is down, just being helped back to his feet in inverted commas now by Morato. The presence of Calvert-Lewin stops the Brazilian doing that, but it's so stop-start at the moment.
Yeah, Yates it was that's just gone to clear Aronson, coming in on the blind side, getting caught just on the side of the ribs. And I mean, look, it doesn't feel at all as if Nottingham Forest are going to get back into the game, but you've got to just think, well, let's have a real go. Let's have a real go to see if we can get that first goal. You just never know. I was involved only in my second Premier League game where we were 4-1 down to Middlesbrough. We drew 4-4. You just don't know in this division.
Luca to Yates as he won the corner with a shot that's blocked and spins away through the penalty area. He has. So the first Forest corner with Luca as a target. And he makes his way forward. Morato is in there as well. So too Milenkovic. Luca's starting position to attack this. And he's being watched, perhaps surprisingly, by Goodmanson, who he towers over. Luca is at the far post and trying to get free now. It's in towards him. He's shaped for the overhead kick, misjudged it, and the ball will hit the corner flag. The other corner flag is stay in. Alan Doy, first to read that, then was able to bring it forward, and Justin stops him and puts it out of play for another corner.
Again, it was a decent delivery, just no one read the flight of the ball. Luca it was that was closest to it, too busy battling with the defender rather than trying to judge the flight, as Abbott's now down with a bit of cramp. It's been a difficult evening for him defensively. The pitch, amazingly, doesn't look particularly great, but they've had so much rain here in Leeds over the last month or so.
Well, they've had so much in the last hour and a half, let alone over the last month. McAtee is being sent out to warm up. They do have the young defender Nets that they've just signed that they can bring on, and if Abbott can't continue, and swap Aina back to right back, bring Nets on at left back potentially. So 16 minutes to go plus a stack of stoppage time. And in comes this latest Forest corner, deep towards the far post, headed away before it got to Sangare, and they'll do it all again, this time from the right, and Hutchinson will go across to take it. It's Forest's 8th corner of the night.
Well, someone's got to get on the end of them. Somebody's got to have that desire to get on the end of one of these deliveries. Got to try and take, if you're not playing well in open play, try and get something from a set play.
Yates making his way in towards the near post, a little flick header back in from Anderson. Sangare playing it back, and then Ndoye leant back and curved it over the bar. Darlow had it covered. Had a play for a goal kick with 15 to go. Leeds 3 goals to the good.
Come on, be ready, Ndoye. Come off the bench, but you know Sangare's going to play that back to you. Make sure you've set your feet ready to strike it. He didn't. So static on his heels, not able to control the attempt. It would have been a good view of the goal. Just steered it over the bar.
Well, he scored against Brentford on his Premier League debut, but hasn't scored since a run of 16 Premier League games without a goal, Dan Ndoye. Just the one in Europe for him as well. Leeds bring it forward to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, to Okafor, both of whom have scored tonight. Goodmanson, who's been excellent, started so brightly, he's got it now. Back heel flick into his path. He finds Gruev. Gruev standing it up. Calvert-Lewin attacked it, couldn't quite get there. And Ndoye wants a lot of time to deal with it inside his own penalty area. Ends up clearing it. It hits Aronson and goes out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Ortega.
They've just looked much more like scoring, haven't they? They've got into great positions down the wide areas, Leeds, time and time again, and it hasn't just been aimlessly played in. The players have got in those areas and they've covered the goal with players making the effort to get into the box. That's been the big difference between the two sides.
Leicester Forest will make their final change. And Abbott has gone off, and Netz has come on. He'll play at left back. Einer goes out to right back. Luca Netz, the German under-21 international, they signed him last week from Borussia Mönchengladbach in a deal that's initially worth just a shade over £1 million. It could end up being double that. Luca is fouled. And it's a free kick to Forest about 15 yards inside the Leeds half. Currently 3-0 to Leeds. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can back Leeds to score the 4th goal of the match at 11-5, Forest to score the next goal at 13-5, or no further goal is 10-11. All thanks to Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaware.org. Anderson taking this free kick. Calvert-Lewin heads it away easily. Falls out for Hutchinson, just outside the penalty area, and Amari Hutchinson runs round that. Anderson has it now. Anderson in the central area has Dan Ndoye in space on the left. They need 3 goals in 13 minutes to salvage a point. Ndoye swings the ball in, and it's only just gone wide. Morato threw himself at it. He didn't make any contact at all, but he did enough to put Darlow off, and the curve on the ball swept it in towards the far post. But it didn't curve enough or quickly enough, and he goes wide for a goal kick.
Well, that's a chance. That's a brilliant ball in from Ndoye from that left-hand side, curling and arcing in towards the far post. I thought Luca to start with was going to get there, and he was just shrugged aside by Strauch. It was Morato in the end diving towards it, but really it should have been Luca. Should have been a lot stronger there.
Well, Forest have made all 5 of their changes. Only now do Leeds make their first. Now there's a big ovation for Brendan Aronson as he leaves the field. The walking wounded, having been smacked in the hip and the ribs by Ryan Yates a few minutes ago. He comes off, and Dan James, who hasn't played since late November because of a hamstring problem, comes on in front of his international manager to try and catch the eye in the 12 minutes plus probably 6 or 7 of stoppage time that remain. So James for Aronson, Leeds' first change.
Yeah, it'll be pleasing, won't it, for Daniel Farke? The substitutes bench has probably looked as strong as it has all season tonight. Been able to bring James back into the action will really please him. Not that he'll be particularly needed unless they want to put a nice bit of gloss on this.
Oh, how they'd love to do that. Leading 3-0, beaten 3-1 the last time the two sides met. Forest hoping to get it back to 3-1 now with another free kick that Hutchinson stands over, the former Ipswich player. Milenkovic waits on the edge of the penalty area. Morato is in there as well. Now Luca in a more central area this time, but when you've got so many big guns to try and hit, the last thing you want to do is fire in a free kick that never goes more than 3.5 feet off the ground. That's what happened there. Leeds cleared all the way back towards Ortega. Ortega gets it forward for Forest. Lucas claiming he was being held back. The referee has given the free kick Leeds' way though. 15 outside their own penalty area. After we're done here, Adam Catchell and former Chelsea striker Carlton Cole will bring you the Sports Bar Weekender. We'll do our best to bring you live reaction from Daniel Farke and Sean Dyche right after the full-time whistle. You can book your calls now, 03717 223344. Forest fans, what have you made of this? Another poor performance, desperately disappointing performance. There have been a few of those over the course of this season, particularly away from home. It feels as though they just haven't turned up. Think of Wrexham, think of Braga, and now can add Leeds to the list. Leeds fans, 9 points clear of West Ham as things stand right now. Talk about this big step that you're seemingly taking towards Premier League safety. Adam and Carlton taking your calls, 03717 223344. On the Sports Bar, Strout brings it forward for Leeds, and it's a poor pass but a great billiard shot, because he's not from 35 yards, he's knocked the yellow ball off the cone over on the far touchline. Just a little cannon. A couple of points for that. And the ball goes out of play for a Forest throw. It's 3-0 to Leeds United, who are going to be making another change in a moment. We'll see Longstaff, another player who's been suffering through injury recently. He'll be on in a moment. Justin to Gruev. Now down towards the right-hand side for Dan James. The angle's tight, right across the 6-yard box. Ortega stood and watched. Okafor couldn't get there, and it's gone out of play for a goal kick.
I think if he just gets his head up here, you can see that Calvert-Lewin isn't there with him. He's just so quick, isn't he? He's away, there's no way he can get it to Calvert-Lewin, so he's got to smash that low or high into the near post top corner himself and be a little bit greedy there, Dan James.
And Okafor is the player that is coming off to be replaced by Longstaff, and a very appreciative ovation for him as well. Score of the second goal, his first in 18 appearances. Leeds have never looked back after that 4-minute burst, just around the half-hour mark where they scored twice. And the destiny of the points has been decided from that point. Longstaff on for Okafor with 7 minutes to go here.
Again, another player that started the season so well and struggled with injury, that the manager has back, hopefully for the remainder of the season. But it's just another good performance, isn't it, to add to many now after that Manchester City performance where he changed the system and started to get some joy with this Leeds United side. It's only Newcastle and Arsenal that have actually beaten them in that period, which I think says a lot about how they've grown during the season.
Yeah, and they run over those 12 games. After this will be 4 wins, 6 draws and just 2 defeats. 18 points from 12 games. And it'll leave them, we reckon, 9 short of Premier League survival with 13 games to go after tonight. We're at the 2/3 point of the season, as near as makes no difference at the end of the evening. Norris trying to bring the ball forward again. Yates lost out. Calvert-Lewin chests it down. Longstaff has been struggling with his calf problem, hasn't started for 3 months. Fires the ball wide for James. James, the crew Evan back in towards Dan James. Right across the 6-yard box. Calvert-Lewin would have had a tap in had the ball got there. Milenkovic made sure that it didn't quite. And it's cleared again to halfway. But back it will come with Strout finding Roden. Leeds 3, Nottingham Forest 0 here on TalkSport.
Yeah, he's the problem, isn't he, for you as a fullback, Dan James. He's just got that electric pace over the first 3 or 4 yards, trying to pass a nice ball too.
And it finds Longstaff with Morato following him diligently outside the penalty area and then fouling him. No, the referee says no, but it is a throw to Leeds near the edge of the Forest penalty area. We'd have to look at this performance in isolation, say that Leeds will be absolutely fine. You have to look at those last 12 games and say that Leeds will be fine. Only 2 defeats in 12. Look at this Forest performance. It's difficult to draw hard and fast conclusions, but it's certainly difficult to be remotely positive about the outlook.
Yeah, it is. If you look at this Leeds side and their performances recently, you'd definitely say that it's more Tottenham and Palace that are likely to dip below them.
Longstaff can't quite judge a high arcing ball in the midfield, but as it comes down on the muddy turf, it's a much easier one to control at the second time of asking. It's a white shirt, despite the fact he's only been on the field a few minutes, already smeared with dirt. And the ball play down the left by Goodmanson, and that's come off Hutchinson and goes out of play for a Leeds United throw. 36,800 and a few in here tonight, and the majority of them will be absolutely delighted and further buoyed by another excellent performance that the relegation battle isn't going to be too stringent for them. Ball headed away by Milenkovic. Now Forest will be able to get it forward down the left-hand side. Nets will continue his run ahead of Ndoye. Ndoye near the corner of the penalty area. Just forced away by James Justin, but he's able to maintain possession. Find Anderson. Anderson and Yates with a 1-2 at close quarters. Yates gets it back again and finds Milenkovic. Milenkovic sending it out towards the Nottingham Forest right for Murray Hutchinson. Hutchinson curving it in. Luca, there's one back. That's what he does. Supplying with the ball in the sky inside the 6-yard box. And he's got a great chance of putting it away. A little flick header on Hutchinson's ball. He scored on his Forest debut, and it's 3-1.
Exactly that. You get the delivery right for him, and he's aggressive like he was this time. He wasn't shrugged off. He was always going to beat Rodon to that, but it's the ball. It's just delightful from Hutchinson. It begs to be attacked. 6 yards out. Darlow possibly could have come. It wasn't flashed in the cross. Maybe if he'd have read that a little earlier, he could have come out and punched. But once he was alone, Luca, he just made sure he glanced that past the goalkeeper.
A 55th goal of his senior career in nearly 200 games. I only say that to illustrate that he's about a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 man, something like that. Only his 3rd goal of the season. And it's 3-1. Forest with a rare opportunity, and they've been able to put it away. There's been a clash of heads now. James Justin, the Leeds player involved, is okay. He's back on his feet pretty much straight away. And Doy, the Forest player involved, is a little bit more reluctant to get back to his feet. He does so now and then puts his left hand to the back of his head again. He shakes his head a little bit, trying to get the cobwebs out. And it's going to be a drop ball to restart play, which will be given Forest's way by referee Peter Banks. 3-1. With 3 minutes plus probably 6 or 7 minutes of stoppage time to go, Dean.
That's what you've got to think. You've got to think, can we? Can we get the ball wide? Can we get another delivery like that in? Urgency is the key now.
And it goes without saying that if Forest were to be able to score again, then panic might just be setting in for Leeds. 3-1, the score at the moment. Good ball down the left-hand side, and Doy, challenge comes in, well timed by Bogle, goes out of play for another corner, and another chance for them to launch it inside the Leeds box.
Oh, I tell you what, that needed to be perfect, that challenge. That would have been a penalty if not from Bogle. Did really well though to slide in.
So Lucas stands just outside the 6-yard box. Anderson at the far post. Milenkovic in towards the near. It's delivered deep. It's headed away well by Calvert-Lewin. Anderson is able to pick it up though on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He's laid it out towards Hutchinson. Play back towards Olareina. Aina trying his luck, and it has gone halfway back the Revy stand. Probably better options. Certainly better options.
Most definitely better options. Again, it's just that mindset of let's not give anything away too easy. What are the percentages of Olareina finding the top corner from there? Very, very low. Play that back out wide. You've got everybody in the box. Recycle it. Get it back into the penalty area. It's an absolute gift for Leeds.
Has been Forest have struggled this season. Got the second worst shot conversion rate in the division. Only about 1 out of every 12 attempts that they have goes in. It was 1 in 8 last year, which was the 6th best, and that was one of the reasons their efficiency and economy in front of goal that propelled them into the European places. Struggled to be able to replicate that this time around, and just struggled to score goals. They've scored 25 in 25 games, and only Wolves have got a record that's worse than that. Got a minute to go here, but the 4th official Andrew Kitchen will be putting a fair-sized number on his board any moment. Milenkovic will play it forward for Forest. He's trying to get one over the top of Strout. Oh, and Rodon and Strout coming back. As a Forest player was trying to get in between the pair of them. And had significant contact been made there on Luca, and he'd gone down, and it could have been deemed to be the denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Morata deals with the ball forward towards Calvert-Lewin at the other end. And it's going to be a throw which will be taken by Leeds on the right-hand side. They're in no hurry to take it. And the 4th official is going to show us how many minutes. What do you reckon? I'm going to go 7, but it could be more than that. It is. It's 9. So 9 minutes for Nottingham Forest to get 2 back here to salvage something very dramatically. 9 minutes for Leeds to hang on. And it might be more than that, because Jaden Bogle's gone down hurt now on the edge of the Forest penalty area, but he's okay, and play's going to resume with a free kick that Ortega will take. 3-1 to Leeds in stoppage time.
Well, again, urgency and not giving anything too easy away. Can you just keep that in the penalty area? Put a decent delivery in again. Can you flood the area? You just never know. You've got to gamble some more bodies than that forward, though. There was 6 defenders back for Forest. You just can't do that.
And Leeds, having won it, will bring it forward. Goodmanson out of the left-hand touchline, but behind James. It's a throw that Aina will take. Forest, to an extent, have their tails up now, certainly more so than any other stage in the second half, with the Luca goal giving them a little bit of hope that they might have something to build upon. But again, they just thrash it forward, and there are 3 Forest players and 6 Leeds men around them. They're never going to win.
What I don't understand, Elliot Anderson has just received that in a centre-back position. What are you doing? You don't need to defend. Get yourself up the pitch. Go and you're probably the most creative player in the team. Just get bodies forwards at this stage.
Yates foul by Longstaff. Free kick to Forest. And Sean Dyche is waving everybody forward, with the exception of Ortega. Is he asking Ortega to come and take this? Or was, I think that is the message. Anderson spots it down. Ortega made his way towards the ball, and then Anderson said, "No, don't worry, I'll take it." Short to Nets. Back out towards Anderson. Now he can drive it forward towards the edge of the Leeds penalty area. Calvert-Lewin back in a defensive role at the moment. Beaten by Milenkovic. Ball goes out towards Hutchinson. Another goal back for Forest now. Makes for a very nervy climax. Calvert-Lewin stretches, does really well to volley it away left-footed. And it goes out for a throw to Forest near halfway. 3-1, 6.5 minutes of stoppage time to go. Forest throw goes back for Ortega. He sends a high one forward. Luca going up for that. Was beaten by Roden. Anderson. Down towards Ndoye. Nerves just emanating from those in the Revy stand away to our left. Ndoye's foul. Wanted to take the free kick quickly. Justin stopped that from happening. Anderson will take the responsibility. He's worked it short for Ndoye. Back for Elliot Anderson again. Anderson stepping away from Longstaff. He's inside the penalty area. Left-footed cross his block, comes straight back out of the box. Now Luca Nets tries to deliver. That one has hit Justin. Bogle, I beg your pardon, and goes out for a throw that will be taken on the Forest left. And Aina's got a decent throw on him. Drying the ball on the inside of his red shirt. And he'll take as much of a run-up as he can. Get as much distance on this throw as he can. Luca lurking in the near post area, comes short, tries to meet it to flick it on, got it all wrong, and it's out of play for a goal kick.
That's just a bit of a rubbish effort, really, isn't it, from Nottingham Forest? Why, when you get the opportunity to put a set play in, do you take it quickly? Don't understand that. Eventually came back to Anderson to take it from pretty much the same place that you would the dead ball situation, and then the long throw there. Again, the angle of the throw was poor. It then skips past and goes behind. Again, that can't happen. It's about keeping it in the right areas.
So the clock is on 90 plus 4. 5 minutes to go. Bornau is going to be coming on for Leeds in a moment. And the defender, just another body behind the ball. Sangari finds Nets. Yates trying to turn. Anderson getting it forward. Luca scoops it back through the midfield for Sangari. Pressure applied on Milenkovic by Gruev, but Serb is able to play it out towards Ola Aino. Pokes it down the right-hand touchline. Hutchinson trying to get the run, and Goodmanson's beaten him. Takes it down towards the corner flag, but he's forced to check back. But he's got 5 in the penalty area, including Yates. It comes all the way through for Luca Nets. Back through the 6-yard box from him, and deflects out of play for what Ndoye thought was going to be a corner. 4 minutes to go.
It's been a slight difference, hasn't he? Hutchinson on that right-hand side, putting a couple of great deliveries. One for the goal. That one was really good and caused problems. They've just not ring-fenced the area well enough.
So the Leeds change since Justin come off. Or is it going to be Bogle? It is Bogle who comes up, and Bornau will replace him. So Bornau, you would imagine, will drop in at centre-half, and Justin will come and play out on the right-hand side of the back 5. And Sebastian Bornau on for minutes or so. The Belgian, he's only made 3 Premier League starts since his arrival at the club. In fact, he's going to play in the middle of the 3 centre-halves. Roden to his right, Strag to his left. Calvert-Lewin gets on the end. Long ball punted for Darlow. Morato gets it back. And Ortega clears. Bornau loses the first instalment of his battle to Luca, but couldn't make anything happen, the big Forest striker, whose goal on 86 minutes has thrown Forest the merest hint of a lifeline, but not one that they're looking remotely likely to be able to take, really. Aina out towards Hutchinson. And Hutchinson a couple of yards in from the right-hand touchline will swing it in, left-footed. Yates, it's flicked off him, and then Strauch. Leeds should be able to clear. Longstaff just hammers it away to get it to safety. Four, they will come again with Luca Nets. Nets' ball. Sangare was up there to attack it. It's cleared. Back outside the penalty area again for Aina. Aina works it forward for Anderson. To Nets, now Danandoy. Clipping it, right-footed inside the penalty area. Luca going up for it. Yates heads it back onto the right foot of Aina. And he shacked that one iron wide of the top right-hand corner. You're listening to Leeds against Nottingham Forest on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it? Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Oh, it makes my head hurt. What? He's had one attempt from outside the area that was woeful. It's come out to him again. I'm sorry, it's the football intelligence of some of these Nottingham Forest players in terms of knowing the right decisions to keep pressure on the opposition. I don't understand how you can't sense that and understand how you've got to keep that pressure on when you're heading towards the end of the game and need a goal. It was just a silly decision.
And he's a player that scored 8 goals in 268 games in his career. Otto Aina, the odd spectacular one, but hasn't been able to hit the target tonight. 90 seconds to go. Leeds 3-1 up. And it's more than 10 minutes now since Forest scored their goal. Anderson plays it forward. Nets. Fairly neat and tidy in the few minutes that he's been on the pitch for his Forest debut. He's worked it back inside the centre circle for Morato. Down from him to Anderson, to Danandoy. Longstaff comes back, and Doy takes him on. Passed on towards Justin. Anderson now on the edge of the penalty area. Sangare, good save! He hit that beautifully. It was dipping just under the bar, and Carl Darlow throws up a left hand to thwart his old club and keep it at 3-1.
Yeah, lovely footwork from Sangare on the edge of the area. Takes the strike, he takes a slight deflection off Rodon, which makes it even more difficult for Carl Darlow to spring and get that hand to tip it over.
In the 99th minute, in comes this latest Forest corner. They're up into double figures. Oh, Darlow very nearly threw it in. He didn't. He got his hands behind it and it dropped towards the dead ball line. Would have gone wide as it went through him. And then there's a little flashpoint and an angry reaction from Forest players. Darlow's back on his feet, and the referee's going to take the ball off him. Is that going to signal the end of the game? Is it just going to be a drop ball? It's a drop ball to Leeds. There's still a little bit of time to be added on because of one injury and a couple of substitutions in stoppage time. So maybe another 20, 30 seconds to go. 3-1 the score. Darlow given the signal here by Peter Banks. He's got to make sure he hasn't got it away in time, I don't think. But the referee has signalled full time. And they deserve that, Leeds United. 3 goals in a 22-minute spell either side of half-time. Bogle, Okafor and Calvert-Lewin. And despite the fact that Lorenzo Luca pulled one back for Nottingham Forest on his debut, having come off the bench, Forest's brief resistance soon fizzled out. Leeds with a deserved win that takes them level on points with Spurs and Palace. More significantly, they're 9 clear of West Ham ahead of their game tomorrow. By the end of tomorrow, Forest might only be 3 points above the drop zone. Leeds United beating Nottingham Forest tonight by 3 goals to 1.